This is Urdizzle back again with the daily tournament ending June 6th. And this was most definitely a challenging one, and we'll walk through the discs I'm using. So we're using the Accurate Windbreak Fuse per usual as my putter in mid-range. I did put the Accurate Windbreak Explorer in for a couple holes where you'll see I needed some overstability. My Accurate Windbreak Musket, a little different color, but same disc. And I've got my Wind Glide Recoil that I'm only going to need on one hole, but it's pretty crucial for that particular hole. And then, of course, my Light Glide Ballista. And I did take out my Roller Ballista and added a Glide Skip, which I'm going to use on a couple holes. And so the reason this layout is pretty tricky is there are quite a few par 4s that are going to require some challenging throw-ins. So hole 1, par 3, this is one you just got to grind for the ace. And that's one of the reasons I put the Explorer in the bag. It has a little more stability to it, so I think it's an easier ace run than the River that I normally keep in there. Hole 2, this is the first place where you're going to see the Glide Skip Ballista. I find that the low trajectory here, if I just keep it on the ground, give it a little skip, works very, very well. And this one I got a really bad kick. Usually that skips all the way through that little archway. Left myself 95, and so there is the first of what's hopefully many throw-ins from about 95 feet, and that's going to be a common theme throughout this layout. And I normally don't like to give up on a hole, but this is one where I'm just playing for birdie. The OB is actually pretty close behind the basket, so you're better off not running this. And so this is also where I'm going to use that Explorer just to kind of throw it up around the tree and let it fade in. Again, I'm never running this one. It's just, in my opinion, it's not worth it. Hole 4, we got Oak Hill, and this is one of those challenging ones where I'm actually also going to use the Glide Skip. And so the idea is to play this really low and hopefully land just at the base of the hill and skip up as high as we can. And honestly, that's about as good as you're going to do. So 74 feet into a headwind of about 3. And that is, I know that I made that look easy, but that is not an easy throw-in to make. Anything outside 60 with a headwind like that and uphill is pretty challenging. Hole 5 is another one that's very challenging, and again, I'm using the Glide Skip, so I just want to play it out here. And sometimes it settles in that little valley there, sometimes you get a good skip, and this one, actually pretty reasonable. I got out to 104 feet. And so this one I don't normally do well in throw-ins for whatever reason. I think it's the elevation, but I went ahead and hit that one, so that's 3 in a row now that I've hit that are very, very challenging, which leads you into yet another one, hole 6 here, and you just have to play it short of the water and hope for a throw-in as well. Again, not easy at all, 137 feet. And so that, as I said before, this is the common theme where if you're going to score well in this layout, you've got to hit these long throw-ins. So it does take a little bit of patience getting through and doing all those. Hole 7, we're now switching to Grizzly, and this one, normally this is not a bad hole, but with that right to left crosswind, this is a very, very, very challenging hole because the margin for error is so small. I actually almost considered using that wide right route that I had showed you guys on my Grizzly Gulch walkthrough, but I did not. And so that one ended up pretty well from about 47. So I was really worried about that bush in front of me there, hitting the putt. But luckily, I was able to straddle to the left and get around that. So I'm on a roll now. That's 4 eagles in a row, and we got an opportunity for a 5th here. This is one where you may be able to make it up on the shelf, but I'm going to play it short because I'm pretty comfortable with my throw-ins right now. And so I'm going to leave it right there. And I got a really bad kick, and so I really debated on this one, 149. If you go too long, you can very easily get in that tree that's behind the basket. And so I really thought about doing a sidearm and just gunning it up there, but I ended up playing kind of a safe shot here. I mean, I tried to make it, but I didn't really run it as hard as I normally would. So I was a little disappointed in the drive. It kind of prevented me from really running that one because I really would have liked to get 5 in a row. Which leads us into this, and this is the only reason I have the recoil in the bag. I'm going to aim a little to the right, put it on a little Annie, and let it come up, and right about there I was pretty confident, even though it looks like it's going to be short, that that's going to kick up and give me a nice birdie opportunity. So right there, that will give me an 18 or a 15 under, and I believe I will be tied for first, which I did not know Thumber had thrown a 15 under, but I was pretty happy with mine, and I don't see anybody getting a 16 under on that layout. I mean, you saw what I did there, and it was possible to get an eagle on hole 8, but to get a hole 8 eagle and also getting 7 and 6 and 5 and 4 and 2, I just think that's going to be a tall task for anybody. So hopefully you enjoyed this 15 under, which I'm assuming or hoping, I know there's about 18 hours left, that will be a first place. So thanks for joining me again.